Welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio, where you will learn about an issue minus the BS. We don't always say what you want to hear, but what you need to hear about the issues of the day. Here's your host, Inger, along with Elmo, with his political insight and commentary.
Are we recording? Yes, we are. This is Brutally Honest Talk Radio with your boy. No, that's Charlemagne and Envy. This is Elmo, and Inger is not here today. She's out on official business. And so we got a few things that we're going to talk about. Just a few. Do a nice little videoette. I want to talk about the criminal mind. It's going to be one of the main subjects today. I noticed a coin shortage in restaurants and places, small businesses that I visit that are frequent. And I'm going to talk about Lebron James' comment that he made. If you didn't already hear, he made a comment about movements. Movements is in struggles and black people and civil rights movement. A survey that I took, a survey I personally took on Facebook several years ago. I mean, it was 2015, 2016, because I'm always trying to gauge what's going on in society, what's going on with my friends and other people that are out there, people that are connected to me. What is the vibe? What is the temperature of what's going on? So I just asked the survey, said, how many of you have been brutalized or harassed by the police, or you know someone that has been brutalized by the police or shot? And at the time, I had at least 400 Facebook friends. No one responded and said that they had been a victim of police brutality. I have friends, and most of the people that I know that I'm connected with are in Detroit or the Detroit, Michigan area and Atlanta. I would say at least half of the people that I'm connected to on Facebook are dark-skinned people, or at least darker than me. And I have to say that because some people say, well, the light-skinned aren't as harassed as much or pulled over as much. And someone's attitude and the way that they act, that can affect it. So anyway, it was surprising to me. I was really expecting to get at least 10 or 12 people that said this, because there was so much in the media, so many videos floating around, and you would think that every cop is bad and every black person is being grabbed and thrown up against a wall, and all these people being arrested and stopped because they were driving while black and all this stuff. There was not one person who said that, which I think that it being a huge problem in society, I think is really blown out of proportion and out of control. It's a very, very small exception rather than a rule. That's all I wanted to say about that. I want to make a correction apology from an episode a few eps back, where I was talking about the rich 1% in the world. And I said that if you make $20,000 or $25,000, you're in the rich 1% in the world. So I've heard something different since then, and what I heard was actually $34,000, which there's a lot of people. I would say most people in America, definitely most people in America, make more than that. And the whole point of me mentioning that was the people that believe that the rich 1% should pay their fair share, and they should give more, give away, pay higher taxes. And they don't need all they have. They don't need all that money. And I just use the comparison of people in third world countries and in some parts of Mexico. They're looking at you. If you live in a house that's more than 2,000 square feet, or a brick house, or you're eating a variety of foods, you actually eat dessert, candy, snacks, and they would say, well, they don't need all that they have, all the food they have, all the home that they have, they can downgrade. They can sell their home and buy something that's half the size that it is and give their money to me or help me out. I don't want to say who said it because I'm not even sure if I'm not even sure if they know. But a very famous person said they believe it's $34,000. But the moral of the story is you are blessed. You are blessed if you're in America. And if you are poor, if you are in poverty, there is a bigger chance of you climbing out of that poverty than the size of any chance in any other country in the world. I've been noticing a coin shortage. I don't know if this is just in Atlanta, if it's a state thing, if it's nationwide, but if I go to Taco Bell, Burger King, Cookout, Popeye's Chicken, there's a sign on the drive-through menu saying, please use exact change only. I can't remember what they said. I actually referenced it. They said, due to a coin shortage. I don't know if that's a state thing or a federal thing. I don't know what would happen to cause the government to stop minting coins. Understand that paper is printed to replace old and worn out bills. The M1 money supply is replenished and you get new crisp bills delivered to the banks every year and then they get distributed out into society. It makes me think, did they run out of nickel or run out of copper or is there a shortage of that? I heard someone mention years ago about um, not a conspiracy theory, but a theory, just that if you notice all the presidents on the coins are facing one way. I should know this off the top of my head, but I think they're facing left. Uh, Truman, Washington, all the presidents except for Lincoln. And Lincoln is facing the right, and that Lincoln supposedly is the only president that turned his backs on the other presidents. That is somehow a sellout. That's why they put him on the cheap metal, on the brown coin, on the copper. The criminal mind, the way of thinking, the thoughts that enter someone's head, which leads them to jail or leads them to death from criminal behavior. This can be anything, can be stealing, rape, murder, arson, whatever it may be. But there's a couple instances that I want to give. Both of these are from Detroit, and you hear things over the years. Some of them just stick with you because it's so amazing, so just so amazing the things that some people would do in their behavior. There were these two sisters at my school before I started attending high school, which is Redford. And it was like the year before I started going there. These two sisters had their mother killed. And just to add a couple details about that, and they were like 11th grade and 10th grade or 11th grade and ninth. You know, they're 1 or 2 years apart, these sisters. And two things about the murder of their mother. They hired or asked this young man to come into their house and do the job. Number one, the two sisters were home when it happened. It wasn't a coincidence. They they knew that they would be there. They knew when he was coming over. They wanted to be there. They wanted to be home when it happened. And the other thing is, while this man was chasing their mother around upstairs and shooting at her as she was screaming, the sisters were downstairs laughing. I know that these two sisters went to prison as well as the young man that did the job. This was over 30 years ago. So I don't know if they're still in prison, but I'm sure that they went for a long time. What these two sisters did, conspiring to kill one's own mother, is that evil or is that crazy? Those are two different things. Sometimes they overlap. Or you could say that it's demonic. And someone can have a mental problem and still be fully aware of what they're doing. They could just have a missing filter in their mind that would prevent them from hurting someone. There's supposed to be some kind of um, innate or not tribal, but some kind of primal, right? A natural instinct, a feeling that one has with their mother. And one other case, there was a woman who had her brother killed, and she had him killed for insurance money. She was a beneficiary to his life insurance. This young man fought in Desert Storm, which was the first time we went to Iraq in the early 90s. And so he was a veteran of the war. I think he was in the Navy. And he came back home, and within a few days, while he was standing in his driveway or standing in his garage, these three teenagers walk up and at least one of them started shooting at him, and they killed him. And nothing happened to her at first. And then a year or 2 years later, she's on a cruise. And the FBI was working on this case. They had been tracking her or following her. And there was a man that went on this cruise with her undercover. And so at some point, I don't know if it was at night when the moon was shining and shimmying off the water, but he started a conversation with her. He got close to her and tried to make it seem like he was interested in her or that there was something romantic. And at some point, he said, "Hey, your name sounds familiar. Aren't you that woman who was in that case uh, about her brother getting killed, the veteran from Iraq?" And she started talking about it, not knowing who he was. And then soon after that, she confessed. She said, "Oh yeah, I had him killed. I set the whole thing up and got that money, and that's how I was able to take this trip or whatever." She said some things that incriminated her and was submitted as could be submissible as evidence. And he recorded the conversation. When the ship got back to port, that the authorities were waiting on her, and they took her into custody. It's definitely evil. It's definitely evil. I think that case is more clearly evil than it is crazy. Just a lack of heart and a lack of soul to be able to do something like that. I remember there was a man on death row, and this was in the 70s, and he's taking that final walk, that final mile, uh, probably to the electric chair, which is very prevalent and very common for capital punishment back then. And as he was being walked to live the last few minutes of his life, he started calling out and shouting, crying out, "Martin Luther King, please save me," and said his name several times over and over. And like I said, this was in the 70s, and King was already gone. And they say that when people get in trouble or when they get in hot water, they're like tea bags in a way that whatever is inside of them is going to come out, or that you really see what people are made of. And so to me, that's just a lack of having a relationship with God or worship in a proper perspective. That to him and in his mind, Martin Luther King was a God and a savior. He said, I may not get there with you, but we will, as a people, make it to the promised land. So people look at him as some kind of a savior, as a Moses that led people to the promised land. And they say when you get really scared, you say things that you wouldn't ordinarily say. Like a lot of guys on the battlefield in war, they get injured and they call their mama's name. They call out for mama to help them, to save them. It's like a part of their mind reverts back to childhood and that helpless feeling where mama can come in and save save her child and make everything good, make everything right. Herman Cain, he passed away uh, this week. This is August 1st, and he passed away a couple of days ago. He ran for president. Um, I think when Romney, I think when Romney was running, or it may have been before that. It may have been when McCain was running against Obama. He had a talk show on WSB on conservative radio, and he ran for president, and he was brought down or stifled because of a scandal with sexual harassment and um, at least two women that he had supposedly um, harassed or assaulted. Also, he was an entrepreneur, which is a great thing to be for a capitalist person and a conservative. And he was the owner and the founder of Godfather's Pizza. That's not a pizza chain that was in Atlanta, but I wish it was because I wanted to taste it. I heard about how good it was. And he said he didn't use anything unusual or anything special in the seasoning or the ingredients. He just made sure that everything was fresh. Your pepperoni, tomato, green peppers, cheese, whatever, just everything was very fresh, very new, and that was his formula. And it was really successful, and many cities across the country. So sorry to hear that. And Herman Cain was a good conservative. So it goes. Well done job in the things that he did. Every case is different, and it's very stupid. It's very stupid for us to be outraged. I talked about this on the last episode. More because of one person that gets killed because the killer is a police officer or a white person than we are 100 black people that get killed in Chicago in one weekend by 100 other black people. All the murderers are black, but 100 lives are lost. And Black Lives Matter is so quiet, you can't even hear the crickets. That is what is devastating our race. The number of whites that kill blacks and the number of cops that kill blacks is so small compared to the number of blacks that are killing each other. And the murderer doesn't have a uniform on. So we can't put them in a category or put them in a box and try to stereotype the enemy. Who is our enemy? Just like people in Minneapolis and other cities talking about, we don't want no police. We want the police to totally get away because of one or a few bad cops. You want the majority of cops to completely go away. It's just asinine and stupid. So they're lucky that we want equality and not revenge. No. LeBron James comment. So last weekend, I believe it was, the NBA is getting back into the swing. They're getting games ready, and they showed, I don't know if it was the Lakers or the Pelicans or whoever it was. They're on the court, they're doing scrimmages. They're playing, practicing, nobody in the stands, and they're commenting, they're interviewing different people, and this man says that there's some organization, some company that's going to donate $30 million to uh, social justice or to benefit discrimination or to fight racism. I don't know, but they're donating like $30 million over 10 years. Okay, so all right, well they have the right to do that, and I know they have a thing where they had all these words related to justice and black people being victims put on the backs of jerseys, at least in basketball and in some other sports as well. And LeBron James, he chose not to do that, which is fine. Because you know what? When I watch basketball, football, and baseball, I don't want to see anything about societal problems. I don't want to see that. It's entertainment. I want to feel good. I want to smile. I want to cheer. During this show with the NBA and they're interviewing different people, he made a comment about there's never been a movement. There's never been any movement for black people. I'm like, why would he say that? There's never been any movement. Like, wait. Hold on a minute. The civil rights movement was not a movement, and you don't think that that did anything to benefit black people or to help make anything better? And again, it goes back to the question, what do you want? What do you want? You say that there has never been a movement. Do you want there to be a movement? That's a question. And if there were a movement like what you wanted, what would that look like? Because some people are lifetime complainers and you just can't make them happy no matter what. So you need to figure out what you want. I don't want to go my whole life complaining and just never satisfied no matter what is done. That's some kind of a sickness or illness where you perpetually are locked into a way of thinking. You can't be a victim and feel like justice was served. I mean, you can. I mean, someone can be a victim first, and then there could be something that happens that makes up for that or corrects that or balances the scales, the scales that justice is holding. But if I want to be a lifelong victim, if I want being a victim to be a lifestyle, then I can't acknowledge anything that was done to make something right. So hey, that's what I got today. Glad that y'all were able to see me. We got a little different setup today. And so take care of yourself and catch us again. Remember, we're on YouTube now. Just like us, rate us, please. If you like what you see and you want us to come back on our YouTube videos, please subscribe. If you want to get all of the videos, all the news, click that subscribe button and everything will come to you. God bless. Take care of yourself.
Thank you for listening to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover, reach out at bruthonest@gmail.com. That's BRUT, honestradio@gmail.com.